Why do some relationships, the ones that seem so solid, just fall apart? Today, we're going to look at a pretty provocative answer, one that's drawn from the philosophy of Friedrich Nietzsche. Now, it's a challenging way to look at love for sure, but it's one that might just offer a strange and powerful kind of clarity. All right, so let's dive right in. To really get this perspective, we don't start at the end. We don't start with the slamming doors or the final tearful argument. No, we have to go back way earlier, into the quiet, everyday moments where the foundation really starts to crumble. This really gets to the heart of it. The idea here is that the physical act of leaving, packing the bags, walking out the door, that's just a formality. It's the last scene in a play where the tragedy already happened, quietly, in the background. The real departure, well, that was emotional, psychological, and completely silent. So this just flips the whole script on what a breakup is. It's not about one big betrayal, it's more of a slow, creeping decay. It's the laughter that just kind of fades out. It's the inside jokes that are met with someone just silently scrolling through their phone. It's this slow decline marked by kind of polite disinterest, not some big explosive fight. So, what's the engine driving all of this? What's the philosophical core behind this collapse? Well, the whole argument is anchored in one of Nietzsche's most famous ideas, the will to power, and it applies it, believe it or not, directly to love and desire. Now, will to power sounds pretty aggressive, right? But from this perspective, love isn't this gentle merging of two people who are just looking for comfort. It's actually a really dynamic, tense dance between two sovereign individuals. Each one has this natural instinct to influence and, yeah, in a way, to possess the other. It's a battle for admiration, not a quiet search for unity. And here you can really see the two ideas clash. On one side, you've got our modern ideal of love. It's a safe harbor, right? A place for comfort, for feeling understood. But on the other side, you have this Nietzschean view that love needs to be a collision. It needs that tension, that constant admiration, just to survive. And this is the real kicker. The central point is that the very things we often strive for in modern relationships, total safety, predictability, complete comfort, are, according to this argument, the exact things that kill the desire that started it all. The chase ends, certainty begins, and somewhere in all that comfort, the passion just suffocates. So how does this actually happen? How does that powerful admiration you once felt slowly curdle into something like contempt? Well, this analysis suggests there's a pretty predictable path, and it's a path made much quicker by the promise of forever. You can almost see it happening in slow motion, and it's pretty tragic. First, the chase of courtship is over. Commitment is locked in. Then, the whole dynamic shifts. What you used to admire, maybe their strength, their conviction, it just becomes predictable, monotonous. And as that admiration fades, the argument goes, respect isn't too far behind. Now, this whole personal crisis doesn't just happen at a bubble. The argument is that our culture today gives us a brand new script to follow. Personal boredom isn't something you work through anymore. It's a sign that you're being oppressed. A partner's steady devotion, that's not a virtue, it's a cage. And the urge to leave is repackaged as this noble quest for self-discovery. This one sentence is really the core diagnosis here. The modern dream of forever, the very thing marriage is built on, is presented as the biggest enemy of the passion that got you there in the first place. I mean, this is a deeply provocative idea. It really questions the goals so many of us have in our relationships. Is there really a battle between long-term comfort and lasting desire? We are genuinely curious to hear what you think about this. Please jump into the comments and share your perspective with us. Okay, so now we're going to take this personal crisis and elevate it to a whole other level, a metaphysical one. The argument here is that when a modern marriage ends, it's not just the end of a relationship. For many, it's the collapse of their entire belief system. Think about it. In a world where traditional religion has faded for many, marriage has kind of taken its place. It's become the main source of meaning, the ultimate life project. It's the sacred place where you invest all your faith, your identity, and your hopes for the future. And that's why this line is so unbelievably powerful. It frames the loss in the most profound way possible. This isn't just a broken heart, it's a full-blown crisis of faith. The entire world of meaning that was built around that relationship just shatters, and it leaves this massive void where your God used to be. So, from this point of view, the act of leaving isn't just a personal betrayal. It's apostasy. It's a complete rejection of the shared faith that held your universe together. And the person who's left behind isn't just heartbroken. They are, in a very real sense, a metaphysical orphan in a world that suddenly makes no sense at all. So, after that total collapse, what's next? What's the way forward? Well, this philosophy doesn't just leave you in despair, it actually points to a path for rebuilding. A difficult one for sure, but an ultimately empowering one. The first step, and this is gonna sound strange, is not to try and save what's crumbling. It's to embrace the fall. To push what is falling means you have to accept the truth of the situation completely, with no illusions. You have to let the fantasy go and clear away all the rubble so you can finally see what's really left. The cure that's offered is called amor fati, a Latin phrase that means love of one's fate. Now, this isn't just passively accepting what happened. It's an active, powerful embrace of everything, the good and the bad. It's about seeing every single event, especially the most painful ones, as necessary fuel to forge a stronger, deeper version of yourself. So this is the journey. It's about moving from being a victim to being the author of your own story. The goal is to stop needing someone else's approval to feel whole. It's about taking the fire of that catastrophe and using it not to be destroyed, but to be forged into something new, something unbreakable, that finds its value from the inside. And all of this brings us to the final, and maybe most important question. If the old gods, the gods of love, marriage, external approval, if they're gone, what new values do you create? What new meaning can you build from the ruins? The responsibility and the freedom is entirely yours. We really hope this analysis gave you a new, even if challenging, lens to look through. If you enjoy diving deep into these kinds of ideas and asking the big questions, please subscribe to Mindscope Philosophy. We'd love to have you along for the ride. Thanks for watching.